Whenever we clash, it's Star Wars. We call it Star Wars. What happens when the shots ring out? It's called Star Wars.
Welcome to Spin That Back. This is Rick.
I'm Eric. If you guys haven't seen our overview video of Star Wars series as a whole and where it's heading to, we're going to link that down below, so you guys make sure to watch that and then come back and check these videos out.
We're going to be covering, for Star Wars Day, in honor of Star Wars Day, May the 4th, we're going to be covering our reflections on the prequel trilogy, episodes 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, because as much people talk shit about it, it did have some pros, I guess, or something that were cool about it. But
so we're going to do the pros first?
Let's just get the pros out of the way.
Before we bash it, we'll go over the stuff that we did like.
Which is the best one?
The best one? I'd probably go Revenge of the Sith. Overall.
Yeah, overall. Me too. I mean, I think most people could agree that's, out of the prequels,
yeah,
that's probably the best one.
It's the less dog shit out of the three.
Yeah, I mean, worst one, honestly, I hated episode 1 and 2. Like, they're probably almost just as bad, both of them.
I wouldn't even say I hate episode 1. Like, I don't hate it. I hate Attack of the Clones. Like, that is like that's just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, Attack of the Clones on some bullshit, but I mean, at least for me, like, even though episode 1 did fucking suck, it at least had some memorable moments in it. Unlike, I think Attack of the Clones didn't really have shit as far as as like scenes that you remember or scenes that you think were really cool.
Maybe Obi-Wan and Jango Fett fighting. Maybe
no. I mean, I guess the one that stands out was the one with Yoda, but I know a lot of people don't like when Yoda fights with the lightsaber. He's like fucking jumping around and shit.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's kind of weird because we're not used to seeing Yoda fight like that. And it's just kind of weird seeing him jump around, like watching him in the original trilogy, and then seeing him. I don't know, just it didn't seem like it's the same. And then
seeing a CG Yoda, it's just not the same as the.
No, the CG Yoda is nowhere near as good as the puppet Yoda.
Frank Oz representing with the puppet Yoda. It's just not the same.
Do we both agree that the worst one's probably episode 2?
At least for me, like I know people like to bash episode 1. But I don't know. For me, I just Attack of the Clones. Like, that's just a movie. As much as I love Star Wars, I just wouldn't. Like, I would just never want to rewatch that movie. Like, honestly,
I'll probably watch it again.
I'd rather watch Phantom Menace before I'd watch Attack of the Clones again. I mean, it was just fucking boring for me. I tried rewatching it a while ago, and I just cannot sit through that shit.
I mean, because 2 of my favorite scenes, just in the entire Star Wars universe, not just in prequels or sequels or whatever, or prequels in the original, but I mean, I love, like, I still think that Darth Maul lightsaber battle.
Yeah,
I mean, it might not be my favorite
and the music.
one. And the music, yeah,
and the music
was,
that was one of the
shit
best.
in all of Star Wars. The music was always on
that's
point.
God, I'm like blanking out on the name of that song now. We'll scroll it right here at the bottom.
I forgot what. I can't remember right now, but I do remember.
Yeah, that's like some of the best music, just even like in both trilogies.
Yeah, and that lightsaber battle was the shit, man. Yeah. Like, see, because I know a lot of people praise or they love that battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin at the end of episode 3, but that shit looked like way too clean. It was like super choreographed. At one point, it looked like they were doing all this shit when they were spinning the lightsabers behind their backs, and it looked cool. But at the same time, it's like you don't buy that's like a real fight. These motherfuckers practiced it.
Yeah, that's sort of the gift and the curse with the prequels is that they look just so clean and they were all CG, which I mean I think was a mistake by George Lucas. That's why I'm glad that it seems like J.J. Abrams is doing more practical effects.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
But when you rewatch them, the problem is that like the fights in the original trilogy look kind of dated now.
Oh yeah, they look dated.
So like when you see the prequels and they're supposed to be before, they just look way more advanced and skilled and planned out and choreographed. That it's a little distracting.
Yeah, and I mean I can understand like they're trying to. I mean at this point they like Star Wars was huge, and like they're like, fuck, we gotta spend like what can we improve on? And like a lot of people said that those old lightsaber battles. I mean they do look a little outdated. I guess maybe the one that stands out the most is the first one with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Remember when they're fighting on the original Star Wars film before Obi-Wan gets killed, his physical form gets killed. Yeah, but like that scene, I mean Obi-Wan was an old guy to start off with, but I mean that fight scene did look super outdated. Yeah. But I mean, I guess the fight scenes, like I like the fight scenes between Luke and Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi. Those are cool, but these new ones, it just seem like I mean, the one on episode 1 I thought looked a little like that one didn't look. I mean, yeah, you could tell there was some choreography involved, but it didn't.
The Darth Maul one.
Yeah, but it didn't stand out like the one on episode 3. Like that shit just looked too clean. I mean, it looked cool, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself like there's no fucking way that these guys. And some people I know, I was reading on the comments one time on some videos, people were saying that the reason why they were fighting like that was because it was like 2 Jedis at the top, like at their peak, and that they're able to like predict where their opponent was gonna try to attack them from. I don't know. I just think that's fucking stupid because if that applies to them, then how does that make any sense for how when Luke and Darth Vader were fighting in the original?
Yeah, that sounds like a cop out to me.
Yeah, that was fucking stupid. I mean, while it did look cool, I just thought they overdid it on episode 3. Like I thought one.
Oh, and then remind me on episode. There's a con that I have as far as the Darth Maul fight, but we'll get to that in the cons.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, like the Darth Maul fight, it looked. I mean, it was really cool just seeing that dual wielding lightsaber. Like that was the shit.
Yeah.
Like, and Darth Maul was dope. Like he was like, I think that's one of the mistakes, right? It was that
Well, that was gonna be my con. What, that they killed him off?
Oh yeah, that they killed him off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in the con section.
Yeah, but I mean, for the pros, like I love that lightsaber battle. Like that shit was clean.
And the pod race.
The pod race was awesome.
That's probably the other memorable.
And I mean, yeah, while that was CG. It was fucking clean, man. Like
the pod race.
Yeah, the pod
that
race.
was dope.
Yeah, it was all CG, but it looked sick, man. Like that was like super. Like it stood out so much to me.
That was exciting. That is exciting watching it the first time.
Yeah, the pod race was the shit, and I mean those 2 scenes alone in episode 1, I think at least rank it above. Like even though it was a bad, like I think overall episode 3 was a better movie than episode 1, but. Like, for me, like, the moments that stood out the most were the ones in episode 1 that I remember, the best anyway.
Episode 2 we'll just skip over because that has very low...
had pros.
That has, like, very low redeeming value.
We see Anakin turning evil little by little.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess episode 2, more than anything, I think it might have carried the story a little more, because I know a lot of people, they do the machete viewing of the films. Yeah. It's completely skip episode 1, right?
Yeah,
because they didn't really have any impact story wise, not much anyway,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I could see how you'd get by doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess episode 2, it kind of, even though Hayden Christensen was fucking terrible, and I mean, it had to do with the acting and the writing. It had to do with a lot of things, and his chemistry with Natalie Portman, or actually lack of chemistry.
Yeah,
had a horrible chemistry on screen. But I mean, I think episode 2, at least it tried advancing the story a little more. I mean, I guess that's like the best praise that I can give to episode 2. All
right, well, we'll jump to episode 3. Well, yeah, and then episode 3. I mean the Obi-Wan Anakin fight was pretty dope. I don't know what I'm like thinking now.
Episode 3?
Yeah, what else did I like about episode 3? I didn't even remember.
I don't know. I mean, I think overall, like, fuck. And we find that in the original trilogy, before Luke even knows who his father really is. I mean, he knows it's Anakin Skywalker, but then we hear from Obi-Wan that he said that he was like a great friend, right? When he was
in episode 4.
Yeah, in the original one. Yeah, that he used to know him and they're great friends. I think, I mean, at least in episode 3, we got to see. I mean, because I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Like, I think.
Yeah, he that was one of the better things.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor was. I thought he was the shit as Obi-Wan. Like, that's like one of the.
I think that was like perfect casting. Like as
big pros. Yeah, that's a big pro for the prequels. I mean, Ewan McGregor was shit, and I really like seeing him. And even though Hayden Christensen was really on there for most of the time, but at least Ewan McGregor, he played the part of Obi-Wan, and you really felt that he did have like a great relationship with Anakin at one point, and we, especially I think in episode 3, like we see it develop way more. Anakin's becoming so powerful, and Obi-Wan's just trying to keep him on the right path. Like to become a great Jedi, and to maybe one day. What they say is bring balance to the Force. Technically, like he did balance the Force, right?
Yeah, even though that is one thing that the Jedi sort of seem like, when you look back at it, you could sort of look at it, and I mean, maybe this was George Lucas's intention, that we just maybe sort of glossed over and just maybe didn't realize at the time that the Jedi were sort of like, they were kind of feeling themselves, if you think about it, because they felt that like, well, we're the right side and they're the wrong side. So like they were trying to balance. According to them, eliminating the Sith would have brought balance to the Force, but then that would have made the Jedi is overpowering the Sith. It's not a balance. It's completely one sided.
Yeah.
So maybe that was sort of like the undertone, the main.
I mean, because
theme of the prequels is that was really them trying to bring balance to the Force in their eyes is really what was the downfall of the Force in the end.
Yeah, and Anakin. Well, I know at the end when. I remember when they have the huge lightsaber battle, and I think it's after Obi-Wan cuts his legs off and he's burning, and he realizes, like it's gone, like he's not, like he's no longer one of us anymore, like he's become a Sith. Is when he tells him like, oh, you're the chosen one, you're the one that was supposed to bring balance to the Force. But I guess if you look at it, technically at the end of Episode 3, they had killed all the Jedi except for Yoda and Obi-Wan. So there's 2 Jedi left, and then we have Emperor Palpatine as Sith Lord, and then Darth Vader as the Sith apprentice. Yeah. And so we're having equal balance on both the dark and on the light side, 2 and 2.
And then especially after Anakin gave a dirt nap to all the younglings.
He killed all the he fucking smoked all the younglings. From the Jedi's perspective, it's a bad thing, but technically he did bring balance to the Force because there's just as many Sith as there are Jedi at the end of Episode 3.
So I guess in that way, it's sort of a tragedy. You get to the end of it and you realize that the Jedi's went through all this to try to bring balance to the Force, and then in the end, it took all these people dying, and probably their best going over to the dark side, and like that's where it ends. So I guess in that way, I mean, maybe it could have been it should have been executed better on George Lucas's part, but I think like that central theme I thought was really dope, but it just wasn't executed in the way that I think it should have.
Yeah, I mean, because see, like the prequels there were a lot of great ideas that he had. It's just the execution of them and how he decided to go about presenting them to the audience. Like it was just done very poorly, like.
Well, I guess we can get into the cons then at that point.
Yeah, bitch, just go.
So, leading into the cons, what you were just saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the one thing, like there were so many things, like there was a lot of potential in the prequels. I mean, because like even though people bash George Lucas, but he has such a creative mind. Yeah. Like the things that he's brought to us in like cinema, like from the writing Indiana Jones and. Just alone what he did with Indiana Jones and Star Wars alone, like there was so much there. Like, there was too
and Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Like there's so much creativity behind. He has amazing ideas, and I think just in the prequels, like there was a lot of potential in here. Like we could have had an awesome villain, but they decided to fucking kill his ass off in the original one. And then Count Dooku, I didn't even fucking know.
That was one of the things I wanted to mention was Darth Maul. I think was just a total mistake. Killing him off in the end of Episode 1. I wish that he would have realized that it was a mistake, and somehow he would have found a way to bring him back. Like
they brought him back in Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
But by then it was too late.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have given him prosthetics, like giving him legs or something. Make him like how they created Darth Vader.
Because if you think about it, in Episode 3, the way that Palpatine I guess draws Anakin's interest to the dark side is by telling him that there was these all-powerful Siths that had they were so powerful that they were able to keep people from dying, or like I mean if that really was something that the Siths had, like there was a Sith that was as powerful as the one that he was describing, it could have been a way where they could have, I guess, wrote that in, and somehow Darth Maul could have survived it, or they would have been able to save him in a different way, like they could have brought him back. But and I know one of the complaints that a lot of people did have, and I guess it is too, like even though Darth Maul, like he was very menacing, like his presence on screen. I mean, and his fucking costume was the shit. Yeah, like the makeup and everything was awesome. Like
Ray Park was so dope as Darth Maul.
He had like the look was there. Like the look was awesome. Just I mean, his character we don't really know much about him. Yeah. And I mean, I think if they would have taken that and developed it over the trilogy, then they would have been the shit. But
and then it would have been dope. And God, see that's why this is pissing me off. It just would have been so dope that. Darth Maul killed Qui-Gon, and then that would have given Obi-Wan a nemesis for the, second and even the third movie. Yeah. It could have been this conflict between him and Darth Maul. It could have been this huge battle. It could have been like Luke and Darth Vader, but it could have been Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul, and then even Darth Maul going to, let's say if he would have made it to the third movie, it could have been, Palpatine, trying to bring in Anakin, and now there's a conflict between Darth Maul and Darth Vader. That could have been something else. It could have led into.
Yeah,
It's just,
like there was so much potential with Darth Maul.
That's what I'm saying.
Alone.
Like, there was just so much potential there. They would have left it in.
Yeah.
Then it could have been a conflict of like the Sith trying to bring balance on their side of the Force. It could have been this power struggle, and then in the end, that was really like the downfall of the Force in general. Like it's just all these things that I just really wish I would have seen come together. I mean, I know I'm not on that creative level like George Lucas is, but it just...
Yeah, but I mean, we could have, as fans, we would have wanted to see a lot more there, Like, we wanted to see, okay, well, where can you take this? Like, we see, like, you have a fucking amazing villain right here. Like, what else can we do with him? And then you fucking kill him off at the end. Like, that sucked. Yeah. It just, like, that...
But I think part of the problem is that, like I said, like I wish that George Lucas would have realized between episode 1 and 2 what a mistake it was. But the problem is that he was just very singular in his vision with the new trilogy. That like the thing that
he didn't want anyone else's input on it.
But that's part of what made the original trilogy so unique, is that he had
more collaborative.
Irwin Kershner and like all these other Frank Oz, even like it was a collaborative effort, and they all gave in their thoughts and opinions, and they helped co-write the scripts, and he brought in other people's feedback to make the even Empire even better than episode 4, and that just didn't happen in the prequels. It was like, no, this is how I want to make it, this is my vision, and this is how it's gonna be. It's my way or get the fuck out of here.
At that point, Star Wars was so huge. He just kind of, I guess, went in with the mindset like, fuck, like I created this, it's mine, people love it, like I have these ideas. I'm gonna do this no matter what. Like, I don't really need anyone else's input on it, Like, and he had feedback from the fans after the first one.
But that was right. I mean, that would have been what, like 2000, 99, 2000. So I mean, the internet wasn't what it is now. So I mean, I don't think it.
Yeah. At that point, yeah. I mean,
had it been 10 years later, it would have been a completely different story, I think. But I don't know how much that really matters to him at this point.
Yeah. He
made his $4 billion off of Disney. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of potential there. Like I mean, that's one of the reasons why I do praise. Like, yeah, people talk shit about it. I don't really want to go on ranting so much, but I mean,
are we gonna get into the midichlorians?
Oh, the fuck the midichlorians!
Nah, we're not even gonna get it. That's already beating a dead horse. So I already know how that went.
Well, yeah, that's a big con, man. The midichlorians.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it's beating a dead horse. Like, it's already. How can we really bash it more?
Because most of the complaint that. I guess most people had about the midichlorians was that originally when we were presented to the Force, we kind of viewed it as more of like a spiritual type of thing.
It was such a simple explanation by Obi-Wan in episode 4.
Yes, it was just the Force surrounds us, it binds us, like it's a part of us.
Yeah.
And it was just, that was it. And it made it feel very spiritual, something that came from inside, but then...
Like, it was vague enough to where you kind of wanted more of an explanation, but you understood what it meant. You didn't need to over-explain it. Like, when he said that, like I understood, okay, like, I know what it is.
Yes. And that's all we needed to know.
Whether it's a metaphor for confidence, for believing in yourself, like, I think that was so appealing, I love that. And it just... totally got ruined by the fucking midichlorians.
Yeah, it just seems like...
Where you think it almost made you feel like it was like sort of like a moral to the story. Like, just believe in yourself and you can make all these things happen. And pretty much like... It could apply to anybody. And then with the midichlorians, it's pretty much saying, well, it only applies to this one guy. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, well, that I understand. Like, I know a lot of people mention that. But like, what... I guess that's more of just like what... we originally took it in as and what we viewed it at, and that kind of just changed our complete look on it. Like, well, what the fuck, that kind of makes it pointless. Not pointless, but it changes our look on it.
It undermines sort of like how Obi-Wan explained it.
Well, it undermines everything, because if you think about it, this is the shit that always fucking bugs me, man. Like, it's one thing that's pissed me off was that originally when they draw his blood and Qui-Gon says he has like the highest midichlorian count that I've seen, even higher than Master Yoda's. So it's like already right there you find out like, okay, like if the midichlorians, if your potential for being or harnessing all this power depends on the midichlorian count you have in your blood, and they're saying that Anakin has the potential to be more powerful than Yoda, like it doesn't make sense because when they brought him in for training, like, yeah, Yoda never sensed that there was some type of evil that was inside of him that had the potential of
to be unlocked,
and that's one of the reasons why he didn't want to train him as a Jedi. But the shit that I don't understand was that they said, okay, well, he's too old, the boy's too old, and you find out that they started training children from when they were little, like 5 or 6 years old, train them to become Jedis. But like, that kind of it doesn't make fucking sense when you look at it. Like, how old was Luke when he fucking started training in the original trilogy? He was
but Yoda told Obi-Wan that, remember?
What?
When Luke first meets Yoda when he goes back to his hut on Dagobah,
yes.
And then he's talking to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's sort of trying to convince him to train Luke, and he says he's too old.
Yeah, he said he's too old, but like, that still doesn't make any fucking sense because, okay, like how old he was. Like, how old was Luke in the original? Like, I mean, in our case, he's probably, what, like 18?
I don't know.
17?
Yeah. I was going to say like 19 maybe.
Yeah, around there. Like, I don't think he's...
Late teens.
Yeah, late teens. We don't get the exact number of, or his exact age, but I mean, we know he's older, but I mean, look what he was able to do. Like, he was able to overthrow the Empire. Like, he was able to bring down the Sith Lord and his apprentice, you know, and turning Darth Vader into the good person that he really was inside the whole time. You know, he was so angry at what happened, and it just made him evil. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, Luke started this old, and the way that they were, I guess, trying to explain it at the beginning, like, they made it seem like you needed to be a little fucking kid, because Anakin was already a little kid in the original one. He was, what, like 9?
Yeah.
And he told me they said he was too old then, and fucking Luke is like twice his age in the original one. So it's like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, I don't know, that always bugs me. Like I can understand Yoda explaining that to Obi-Wan, but like, how young does he need to be? Like, the motherfucker's like more than twice the age of Anakin in the original one. I don't know, that always got to me. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You know what else doesn't make any sense?
What?
That needless fucking romance between Padme or Amidala or whatever the
but
fucking...
some people say that we need a romance because we had Han and Leia.
I don't know. That alone just completely fucking ruined Attack of the Clones. Like, that was a love
story.
Yeah, but I mean, like Natalie Portman's such a good actress, and you could tell that she was just like fucking struggling to make this shit work. And Hayden Christensen didn't fucking help.
No.
That he was like the Luke Walton of the fucking Attack of the Clones and shit. Like you have like all these like great actors in it. You got Sam Jackson, you got Ewan McGregor, you got Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Christopher Lee is Count Dooku.
Yeah. Frank Oz doing Yoda's voice.
Yeah.
And then you got fucking Luke Walton, Hayden Christensen's ass.
He was the star of the movie.
Fuck, man.
Yeah.
It didn't need to be so cheesy.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I can understand them trying to... I mean, because we did have a romance story in the original trilogy, I mean, with Han and Leia, but it wasn't the fucking sense. Like, you look at episode 2, and that shit's just a fucking love story, man. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they could have added that element into it, but not made it so, well, like you said, so cheesy, and then, or made it kind of take over such a big part of the film. And I mean, yeah, I guess they're trying to develop Anakin's character, trying to humanize him a little more so that when he does eventually become Darth Vader, you kind of just see him deteriorate to this fucking being that doesn't even believe in good anymore. I mean, at least I can understand you're trying to humanize him, but at the same time, it's like, it didn't have to be that fucking cheesy. They could have been better written. It could have been more well written. They just could have been presented a lot better, and they just overkilled it with the fucking love story.
Especially after it seems like Amidala like friend zoned him like right away in like episode 1. Like he was like a little kid, and then all of a sudden it's what 10 years later? Or how was it like 10
about 10 years, yeah.
10 years. He probably would have been about Luke's age.
Roughly.
At that point, more or less. And like all of a sudden, like she's got the fucking hots for him.
Yeah, but busted nuts.
No, that was until later, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was until later. Well, at the end, because they got married.
Well, that would have been until episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anyway.
I
don't know. Well, I mean, that's beating a dead horse too, but that was just like totally fucking unnecessary.
Yeah, see, but like what I'm saying, like this is another reason. Like there was a lot of potential there, but it's just like some things he had the ideas there, they could have been presented a lot better. Or like he could have put more emphasis on certain things, and like he had other things that like could have been smaller elements to the film, but he just like made him such a central theme in the whole overall telling of the story that it just kind of killed it. Like there was a potential with the great villain. We could have had an awesome. I mean, I'm not saying as good as Darth Vader because he's so iconic, but I mean at least something that lived up to the potential of having the sick fucking villain throughout the trilogy. And like he could have developed that a lot better instead of concentrating so much on the fucking love story. that was a smaller part in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And I mean, it overall it did have a big impact on it, but like they didn't present it so much.
Yeah, he just tried to shove it down your throat.
Yeah, on the prequels, and that's another thing. Like he focused so much on that one thing that it kind of took everything else and like pushed it off to the side, and it didn't seem as important as it should have been.
So I guess that's enough bashing.
I mean, I don't think we do so much.
We'll be here another half an hour if we.
Fuck, you talk so much shit, but see, like it upsets me because like I mean, although there were a lot of bad things with it, like it had a potential to be so much greatness out of this, and it's just like fuck, he just didn't it wasn't like he was so stuck on doing things his way that it just like that was what fucked up the original the prequels,
Yeah, and I understand it's tough, keeping that consistency over the course of 6 movies, but it just really felt like a huge step backwards. And I think originally, like, I didn't mind the prequels so much, but as the years have gone on, I just gone on to completely fucking hate the prequels, new trilogy, whatever.
Prequels.
Well, it's gonna be prequels at this point. Yeah. But I don't know. I just like. We try to find some redeeming things in it, but just overall, I mean, really, like, what are we gonna do? I mean, George Lucas wants to make it. He made it. That's another debate that we can get into later on. Like, if the prequel sort of like diminished the impact of the original trilogy.
I think it diminished it, but
well, we'll get into that at another point. So let us know what you think about the prequels. If you guys hated them as much as we did. We try to give it a fair shake. We mentioned some of the things that we like, but we're trying to be. Well, I want to say we're trying to be fair, but I mean, we probably bashed it more than we praised it. But that's just how we feel. But let us know what you think, and down below we'll link to our thoughts on revisiting the original trilogy, and so you can link to that down below, and check us out there. So comment, like, subscribe, share, and we'll catch you on the next one, and may the force be with you.
This is Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars. Star Wars.